Spiritual Life Center, transforming lives as we love, serve, and remember who we are.
One heart, one mind,
one soul at a time.
Hello and welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. I'm Paula Mandella and this is Soul Light Connection, and we want you to know you're in the right place at the right time. Right, Ann?
That's right, just where you are meant to be. And we want you to sing along with us because we know and you know your soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. In the right place, I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. Yeah, your soul is welcome. Our soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. Right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. I'm getting the message. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Put your hands together. My soul is welcome here. Tell them about it, Larry. My soul is welcome here. 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 My soul is welcome. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome
Good morning, and welcome to the Spiritual Life Center Experience. As we bring you today's service, wherever you might be on the planet today, we're grateful for your presence. As we remind one another, we are all interconnected. We are all one in the Spirit because we come from that one source. We have folks across our globe who view our services. And each week I acknowledge at least one of the places outside of the United States where people tune into our program. So today I'd like to acknowledge our friends in Albania. Thank you for connecting with us, and know that you are blessed and a magnificent blessing to our planet. At this time, we're going to take a few moments to commune with the presence and the power and the love of pure spirit. And we do so in prayer, which we know is the language of spirit, the language of God, the language of the force. So let's take a moment now to affirm this realization of our connection and realize that we are indeed living and moving and having our beingness in this loving presence. We rest in this presence. And we allow this presence to guide us, direct us, uplift us, heal us, transform us, because we are surrendering to it. And all of those qualities and all of those objectives that we want to have are already done in the mind and the heart of pure spirit, are already done in the mind of God. And our job is to simply raise our attention and our consciousness to be one with this energetic field. And as we do, we'll see magnificent things not only happen in our lives, but on the very planet in which we live. So we're grateful now to be the vessels and the vehicles and the instrumentalities of pure spirit as we go forth, leaning on this presence. And as we lean on this presence, it supports us in so many different ways. We're grateful and thankful. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. We're grateful for this presence. We're grateful for you being part of this experience with us today. And we remember that we indeed live in that friendly, supportive universe as we go forth experiencing life to the fullest. You know, our mission here at Spiritual Life Center is as follows. We transform lives as we love, serve, and remember. And we do so as we live out these 5 principles which are the foundations and undergird all that we teach. God is absolute good and everywhere present. People are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. Prayer and meditation are how we connect with God, and we must take action.
I'm Reverend Deborah Phillips, and here's what's happening at SLC. When you ask the question, would you rather be right or be happy, do we mean that we must give up, roll over, and play dead? This week on Discovering Spirit Within, on the need to be right, I offer a different perspective and suggest ways to help us discover why we have the need to be right, understand that need, and fulfill it in healthy ways. Discovering Spirit Within premieres every Wednesday. You can access it and all of our podcasts directly from our website or on your favorite podcast app. We invite you to join the SLC Board of Trustees today via Zoom from 1 to 2:30 p.m. for our annual membership meeting. The board will discuss initiatives regarding mission-centric ministry, review our financials, and give us an update on our reopening process. Governing members will also be able to vote for the board-nominated trustee candidate, Penny Clement. Penny has been a member of Spiritual Life Center since 2000, served on our board from 2015 to 2018, and is an active member of our choir, Women of Spirit, and our Abundant Community team. She is a prolific artist with high consciousness and will help continue to raise the vibration of SLC and of our Board of Trustees. Remember, if you were a member of SLC before May of 2020, you are already considered a governing member, and you just need to register online. You can register up to about noon if you wish to vote. The Zoom link for the meeting is on our website. Join us next Sunday, May 23rd, as the Sunday Experience transitions into a hybrid mode. Reverend James Trapp, Reverend Janae Marth, and I will be in the sanctuary for announcements, meditation, and the Sunday talk. We will enjoy the recorded music of Laurie Shiflett. Current COVID guidelines will be in place, which means there is limited seating, so you must register in advance so we can plan accordingly. You can sign up on our website. As Spiritual Life Center continues our journey into mission-centric ministry, we are contemplating what our mission, We Transform Lives as We Love, Serve, and Remember, means to each of us, what it looks like in our lives and the lives of others, and how we can achieve our mission together. In this spirit, the Evolutionary Council presents a journal writing experience about our mission. This is an opportunity for you to connect with Spirit, personalize our mission, and experience transformation through loving, serving, and remembering. This journal writing experience is available online, or you can contact the Evolutionary Council at ecouncil@slcworld.org. We love to greet our newcomers, and while we cannot greet you in person, we want you to know that we are happy that you are with us today as you walk your unique spiritual path. You can learn more about us by going to slcworld.org/connect. And when you fill out the online card, you can choose to receive our weekly message, find opportunities for connecting with our prayer chaplains and online small groups. And you can also ask to be notified of greater ways to connect with us as we virtually expand our online community. And speaking of connecting, you can find all the details for the happenings at SLC by simply going to our website. Thank you for joining us today. We are honored to be with you in spirit.
I'm waking up to the power of my mind. I'm waking up to me. I'm waking up to the power of my mind. And in this power I'm set free. I'm waking up. I'm waking up to the power of my mind. I'm waking up to me. I'm waking up to me. I'm waking up to the power of my mind, and in this power I'm set free. Oh, life can be good. Oh, life can be sweet. Oh, life can be good, and it's all up to me. I'm waking up to the power of my mind. I'm waking up to me. I'm waking up to the power of my mind, and in this power I'm set free. Whoa, life can be good. Life can be good. Life can be sweet. Life can be good, and it's all up to me. Life can be good. Life can be sweet. Yeah. Life can be good, and it's all up to me. I'm waking up to the power of my mind. I'm waking up to me. I'm waking up to the power of my mind, and in this power I'm set free. And in this power, I'm set free. And in this power, I'm set free. I'm set, yes, I'm set free.
At Spiritual Life Center, we affirm there is power in the spoken word. If it feels comfortable for you, I invite you to speak aloud our vision statement. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions. Weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom, we cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet.
I am one with God. I know the truth. I am one with creation and one with you. There is no separation between all that is. I am one. Please join us. joy and peace in my heart. Always I feel joy and peace in my mind. God within reveal joy and peace in my life. I am healed. Joy and peace, joy and peace in my heart. Always I feel joy and peace in my mind. God within reveal joy and peace in my life. I am healed. So much joy and peace in my heart. Always I feel joy and peace in my mind. God within reveal joy and peace in my life. I am healed. I am healed. I am healed. I am healed.
My thoughts are filled with joy and peace. My heart is full. As we move into this time of inner knowing, take a deep breath and quickly let it out. Now breathe naturally and watch as with each breath your body begins to relax. Drop your shoulders. Loosen your hands. Relax your eyelids. Allow your consciousness to drift up and up into a light daydream. This daydream starts as a walking meditation. Your intention is to clear your mind, to elevate your thoughts. You walk beside a river that gently winds its way. The sound of the river is very restful and reassuring. And so you find a grassy spot and sit down beside the river. And you close your eyes and listen to the water. You listen to the birds rustling in the trees, to squirrels chittering. You feel the light breeze kissing your face, the solid support of earth beneath you, the warm sun on your back. You smell fresh grass, the scent of flowers, the very air itself. You see sunlight glinting off the water, clouds skittering across the sky, trees in the distance. And imagine for a moment how sunlight will taste, what flavor the breeze carries, the tang of trees. And as you go deeper and deeper into your meditation, allow all these energies to blend into one another. You hear the breeze. You feel the birds rustling, blending and blending until only one energy fills and surrounds you. You know this presence. It is vibrant and alive. It is very real. In its own way, a way that you understand, the presence begins to communicate with you. And you, in your own way, a way the presence understands, you communicate with it. Bring your intention for clarity of mind and thought into this conversation and sit with the presence, absorbing all that comes to you in the silence. And now you take a breath and open your daydream eyes. You are amazed. It is like you have supervision, because everything you see with such clarity. You see the texture of the breeze. You feel the breath of the river. You hear the taste of the sunlight. In this moment, you are aware of simply everything as one. Now that you know what vision and clarity of thinking really mean to you, you are still and quiet with the inner knowing that you are a holy expression of the one presence. And so you rise from your place by the river and gently walk out of your daydream back into your physical body. And take a breath as you receive this blessing. Oh, my beloved, everything you need to know is within you, in every one of you. When you want more clarity, more wisdom, more vision, more peace, more joy, simply become quiet and sit with the presence. Always here, always ready, always available, always present. Remember this, always.
I see that all is just as it should be. I am safe, so are you, doing all the things God wants us to. In this place that I know, I do have everything. God is good and dwells within. With each new breath, I begin again, sitting in the presence of God, watching my thoughts go by, sitting in the presence of God, everything is simplified. One with the source of all supply. All my needs are satisfied when I am sitting in the presence, sitting in the presence of God. Love is a circle, always unbroken. You and I are one and the same. God is real.
so warm and safe here, moment by moment. Fully now, I feel the release. Life is expanding, I'm glowing with peace. One with the light now. I know that I am truly blessed. Using me, God is expressing. Now I am feeling whole of blessings. Sitting in the presence of God, watching my thoughts go by. Sitting in the presence of God. Oh, everything is simplified. One with the source and all supply. All my needs are satisfied when I am sitting in the presence, sitting in the presence of God, sitting in the presence of God, watching my thoughts go by. Sitting in the presence of God, everything is simplified. One with the source and all supply. All my needs are satisfied. I am sitting in the presence, sitting in the presence of God. Oh, I am sitting in the presence, sitting in the presence of God.
Sitting in the presence of God, watching my thoughts go by. You know, we're always surrounded and sitting in the presence of God. And we're always having thoughts. You know, there was a wonderful spiritual teacher from India named Sri Chinmoy. And Sri Chinmoy was also a poet and author. He was a musician, an artist. I guess you could say he was an overall Renaissance man. And he said the following. He said that thinking is becoming. Therefore, be very careful in your thinking. I've come to realize that if you want to get an idea of what your life will be like tomorrow or in the future, take a close look at what you're thinking about today. You know, we have like 50,000 or more thoughts a day, at least according to scientists. And although thoughts may be invisible, they pack a lot of power in shaping our life. And this is why the Buddha said we are shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think. When the mind is pure, joy follows like a shadow that never leaves. You know, we're part of a branch of teaching called metaphysics or spiritual metaphysics. And metaphysics is the study of that which transcends the physical. It is beyond the physical. And this study is not about changing the world. This spiritual philosophy focuses on the art and science of being. So instead of being concerned with what's happening in the world, the attention is on our thought about the world and our perceptions about the world. You know, I've been following baseball a little bit more than normal. I just I think parenthetically, I think in this short baseball season, I think there's been 4 no-hitters this year, which is extraordinary for this short time of the season. And another thing, that each of the pitchers have pitched complete games. And for baseball aficionados, they'll know that that is not usual. In fact, it's amazing. But as I was thinking of baseball, it triggered another thought I had. And, I know Willie Mays, who had a birthday recently. He turned 90 years old. And I have to say, I believe that he was the best overall baseball player of all time. But thinking about baseball triggered to me a story that has something to do with the talk today. And there was a young boy who loved baseball, but he was the only child, and he often would go into the backyard, and he would bring his baseball bat and his ball, and he would throw it up in the air, and he would swing at the ball. And so he decided to do this one day. He went to his backyard, and he was declaring and affirming that I'm the greatest hitter in the world. And he'd throw up the ball, and he'd swing, and he missed, and it was strike 1. And he'd say it again, I'm the greatest hitter in the world. He'd throw the ball up again and swing, and he'd miss a second time. And then he'd throw the ball the third time, and he took the most mighty swing he could imagine, and he missed again for strike 3, and he said, I realize I'm the greatest pitcher of all time. And that story just reminded me that we have the ability to think about how we see things. And how we see things determine what that experience will be for us. And it's not necessarily what has happened in the world around us. Now, to be clear, it's not that students of spiritual metaphysics are indifferent to what is going on in the world. So-called metaphysicians know that change does not start by trying to make things right, but by first seeing rightly. In other words, it's not about trying to force a change or trying to alter another person's behavior or even trying to make the world different. It's about, as one individual said, Ralph Waldo Emerson, I believe, he said it's about seeing things from the highest point of view. This view is another way of thinking because it sees beyond the current circumstances to solutions. Probably most of us, may I speak for myself, but probably most of us are reactionary thinkers. Something happens, and more often than not, we may react. And sometimes the reaction is worry or doubt or fear or anxiety. Other times, the reaction is joy or inspiration. These responses seem normal to us since many believe that circumstances cause the thoughts we end up thinking. And as a result, we believe our reactions are inevitable because they're a byproduct of what has happened around us. Now, we love the joy and the inspiration. It makes us feel good, and that's all right. But understand, we don't have to react to our experiences with anxiety. We don't necessarily have to react with fear or doubt or worry. And worry is particularly worrisome. For example, many people have the congealed belief in thought and belief in agreement, as unconscious as it may be, that they must worry all the time. But understand, we can interrupt that belief. We can interrupt that kind of thinking by entering what I call a no worry clause agreement in our living. You may just want to write it down. I'm entering into a no worry clause consciousness. I'm writing down a no worry clause agreement with myself, where I begin to no longer worry about anything. I take no anxious thought about how anything is going to be brought to me today and every day of my life. I'm going to stop worrying. Because worry is like paying interest on money you have not borrowed. It pays no dividends at all. Now, some folks place a mark in their worry vibration. They may get temporarily inspired, and they get rid of the worry for a little while, and they end up singing songs. I'm sitting in the presence of God, watching my thoughts go by. And the moment they stop singing, maybe they're asking themselves, now, what was I worried about before I started singing? Something was on my mind. I was worried about, I don't know what I was worried about, and they won't let it go. Or they won't stop thinking about it until they find it. And they say, let's see, what was it? Oh, yeah, now I remember what I was worried about. And they kind of believe that if they don't worry about it, it's not going to get done. It's not going to be handled. It's not going to be dealt with properly. If they're not worried about it, then it's not going to turn out all right for them. So they devote more time to worry than faith. They devote more time to worry than conviction. They spend more time on worry than feeling that it's going to be all right. But when that comes up, we want to sing that song from that Bob Marley song that said, don't worry about a thing. Every little thing gonna be all right. And when we happen to have that worry come up, we want to begin to evoke that no worry clause and just give yourself some time out through the course of the day. Now, I'm not going to try to take all your worry out all at once, because some people have fits and starts and withdrawals because, they're so conditioned to worrying that they have to end up going to maybe a Warriors Anonymous program. And they show up and say, yeah, my name is James, and I worry. I worried all the time. I stopped worrying all of a sudden, and I lost all my friends because they didn't know who I was anymore. So we don't want to ask you to do that. We're just saying stop and give yourself a time out from time to time. Because oftentimes we place a place mark in our worry, and we're absolutely preventing, we're obstructing, we're blocking, we're delaying the omniscience, the all-knowing omniactivity of God working in and as our life. Understand, this presence knows everything, but it does not know problems. It does not know concerns. It only knows what's real and what's eternal. So what you're worried about is a phenomenon of our human experience. And it's a temporary, low vibration way of thinking. And God, the universe, the force, does not deal with the temporary. Sometimes we're trying to use an absolute law of relativity in our worry, and it's not going to work. So we're just going to amplify that which we are worried about. But what we want to do is follow the guidance that's found in Philippians, the 4th chapter and the 8th verse. And that verse is one of my favorite verses that says, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. So put a no worry clause in your thinking and watch as your life transforms for the better. We have that choice. We can practice the art of thinking when we implement that choice. We can also choose how we respond to the so-called antagonist and maybe some of our critics in our life. We can use this artistry of thinking to understand that our critics, the folks that get on our last nerve, are our best friends in disguise. What I realize that these individuals push us to a new level. They make you go so deep that you could not get there by yourself. They make you pray when you don't want to. They make you pray when you don't have the discipline. They make you pray because sometimes that's all you can do, because you can't figure it out mentally how to deal with them or the situation. Maybe on the surface level, your reaction is that you've been betrayed by life, or you've been betrayed by another person. So it's too much for the surface mind to figure out. So you got to go deeper below the surface. You got to go to a different level of thinking. Because when you do, you realize that at that moment, when you go to that level, those individuals that were getting on that last nerve, they didn't know what they were doing. They were making you become so large for the presence of God. That's how you can begin to see it. They're making you shine. They're making you radiate. They're making you access dimensions of your being that would not be able to be touched without their assistance. In fact, if they knew how good it was going to be for you, they wouldn't even do it. Because what they're doing, they're throwing you into the spiritual briar patch, and your life will rise and you'll be transformed like never before. You become a better expression of yourself. When we understand the artistry of thinking, we can get out of any reactionary responses. Because if we stay in reactionary thinking and affirm how bad things are in our lives, how bad things are in our politics, how bad things are in our world, it only reinforces the very energy behind the experiences we claim that we do not want. It won't stop until we step back and declare, stop this train. It's time for me to get off. There was a senior monk and there was a junior monk. They were together. They were traveling together. And at one point they came to a river with a very strong current. And as the monks were preparing to cross the river, they saw a young, beautiful woman who was also attempting to cross that same river. And the woman asked if they would help her cross to the other side. And the two monks glanced at each other because they had taken vows not to ever touch another woman. But then without a word, the older monk picked up the woman, carried her across the river, and placed her gently on the other side. And then he carried on his journey. And the other monk continued to walk with him, the younger monk. And the younger monk couldn't believe what he had just happened, what he had just witnessed. And after rejoining his companion, he was speechless and he was thinking really hard over and over again. And an hour passed without a word between them. And then 2 hours passed. And then 3 hours passed. And finally, the younger monk couldn't contain himself any longer. And he blurted out, to the older monk, as monks, we're not permitted to touch a woman. How could you then carry that woman on your shoulders? And the older monk looked at him and replied, Brother, I set her down on the other side of the river. Why are you still thinking about her and carrying her in your mind? We have the capacity to just say no to negative, disempowering thoughts. Often it's just a matter of recognizing it and then letting it go. John Coltrane was one of the great jazz musicians in history who played the saxophone. And according to some stories I read about him, his solos were long-winded affairs. And toward the end of his life, some of his solos lasted 30 or 40 minutes. And one of the complaints from Coltrane's critics concerned how long his solos would go. While he was a member of the Miles Davis quartet or quintet. And Miles Davis, of course, the head of the quintet, he had a reputation of being very temperamental and often very explosive. In other words, he was a reactionary thinker. And Davis confronted John Coltrane about his super long solos. And John Coltrane responded by saying, I just don't know what it is. It seems like I get going. When I get going, I just don't know how to stop. And according to the story, Miles Davis said in his gravelly voice, I imagine, why don't you just take the horn out your mouth? Why don't you just take the horn out your mouth? When we understand the artistry of thinking, we can do the same thing. We can stop the momentum of negative energy and symbolically take the horn out of our mouth, so to speak, and just stop and transform the moment by seeing things differently, by saying some of the following affirmations or visualizations. I see the facts and how things are right now. But within me is a power to see the facts in an empowering and positive way. I can lift my seeing to a higher point of view and infuse the energy field with an uplifting consciousness. I can be and am a part of the solution. You know, if we are to have lasting solutions to the challenges in our lives, in our society, and in our world, we must collectively think from a place of inspiration and not a place of resignation. And like I said, we don't pretend that challenges we face do not exist. They do on a three-dimensional level. To deny it would be a denial in the most unhelpful way. We are in this world, but we don't need to be snagged by the undertow of the low vibration consciousness that is in it. We can center ourselves in the consciousness of the Spirit of the living God, which only knows divine spiritual solutions. Well, to sum up for today, I believe to practice the artistry of thinking means this. No matter what happens in our world, no matter what happens supposedly out there, regardless of the news that pops up on the internet or on the television or whatever is taking place around us or seemingly to us, we always have a choice. We don't have to be angry or at least stay in angry mode. We don't have to be unhappy. We can choose to be happy no matter what. We don't have to worry. We can choose to think creatively if that's what we want. We can be the masters and not the servants of our minds and the thoughts that pass through it. Now, admittedly, it's simple and easy to say, but not always easy to do. It's not always easy to take possession of our thoughts and our mind. But to transform from being a reactive thinker to a creative thinker really just requires lots of practice. It requires commitment. It requires intention. Because after all, we've been thinking the other way for so long. And yes, we may not be able to change the things that happen maybe in our jobs or a business environment or organizations right away. We may not immediately be able to change things in the world that we do not like. But we can change the way we deal with them. And that makes all the difference in the world. There's a poem by Ella Wheeler Wilcox that says, "Some ships drive east, and some drive west, and they do so by the same winds that blow. 'Tis the set of the sails and not the gales that determine the way they go." He's saying to us in so many words, a ship can move eastward or westward by setting the sails, regardless of the wind. And so it is with our life. Regardless of what happens, by changing the way we deal with it, by the attitudes we hold toward what's happening, we can change the whole experience as far as we're concerned. And that, my friends, is the heart of the artistry of thinking. Peace and blessings to you. Thank you for being part of our service today, in which it served as a reminder that, among other things, that external events do not determine our experiences. It's how we think about our experience that has the final word. And for us to change our world, we start by changing our thought. Next Sunday, my talk is the creative power of our words. And it'll talk about how our words have tremendous power as well. And they can either build up or tear down. And remember to join us for a virtual courtyard chat today. I believe it'll be a short one, but anyway, at 10:15 Pacific Standard Time. The link to the spiritual courtyard is in the description. So let's meet there and we'll be able to chat with friends and members of Spiritual Life Center. Right now is your opportunity to help Spiritual Life Center to provide these spiritual experiences for you and any others that tune in to us. Not only for our Sunday experience, but our weekly podcast, our prayer and meditation classes, as well as other transformational experiences that take place throughout the week. And so I invite you to support Spiritual Life Center with your donation and to give what you can. It makes a difference and is highly appreciated. You can give by texting SLC Love to 44321. That's SLC Love to 44321. Or to give in other ways through our website, slcworld.org, in which you can click the Donate tab, in which you can send in those other ways, including by mail. And if you have value and you find value in these services and want to help spread the word to others, depending upon the platform you're viewing us from, please like, comment, and subscribe. And more transformation will happen for others locally and across the planet. And now I invite you to join in as we say our offertory blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
He did, quiet on the set. That means you. I was like, who's
So bossy.
okay. Zoom in, zoom out. Take two.
Are you sure it's okay if we start?
Now! Go to your room.
Why do my songs always have to be funny? Here we go.
They used to think the world was flat, and there'd be dragons off the edge of the map. Till Galileo put on his thinking cap and changed things forever. It's just a dark for an astronaut. There's a whole universe in one raindrop, or a single bottle of soda pop. We're all in this together. Star is reachable. Every moment is teachable. Love is what it's all about. Zoom in, zoom out. When your journey seems an endless one and feels hard to overcome, step by step is how you get it done. One day you'll be laughing. A wealthy man from way up high, a homeless child with a cardboard sky. If we could only see through each other's eyes, imagine what could happen.
Imagine what could happen.
Zoom in to get a new perspective. Zoom out, you see we're all connected. The distant star is teachable. Every moment is reachable. Love is what it's all about. Zoom in, zoom out. Shift your paradigm.
we zooming?
I don't know.
That was good.
That was fun. Everyone's gonna love how
And now, let us join together and say our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, I am, and all is well.